And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. You are joined today by myself, Shawn Gervais from OrbisX, as well as Marty Hill, Mr. Marshall, our Pints Polishing Podcast, as well as hyperClean Car Care Products. And I'm about to hear him pop something open.
Yeah, this is
what do we got today? Okay.
Wayne's Detailing is a listener of the podcast, and he sent it out to me to drink some beer.
Right on, man.
That's the benefit of having a beer on podcast. Podcast on beer. My bad.
There you go. Yeah. I've heard it both ways. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Oh, man, that's delightful. Just a good crisp beer. All right.
Yeah, nice. So I'm drinking Appleton again, but this time I got suckered, man. I got taken for a ride, actually. So I usually buy the Appleton Estate, the Private Reserve, 12 years, super smooth, amazing. I guess they're trying to get rid of their normal stock. So they put on those little toppers you can get, sometimes you get a free little bottle or you get a gift or baseball or some shit. I got suckered, man. They had these leather coasters, soft coasters. And I was like, oh man, that'd be nice. I was like, okay, some Appleton coasters, free with a bottle. Why not? But not on the bottle that I wanted. So I was like, oh, well, I've never really tried that one. So let me just, whatever, I'll give it a go. Man, the difference is night and day. And so now I'm stuck with this fucking massive bottle of this stuff that burns your throat when it goes down. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, yeah, terrible. So if I see that happen again, I'm just going to take the topper off.
That's what I thought you were going to say you did. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got swindled this time. So it's not happening again. That's it. Next time I'm like, because fuck it, I'm giving them more money anyways for the other bottles. So I should get the free gift. That's what I think. But man, I got had. And it's not terrible. It's just when it's not what you're used to, so I have to add a little more ice to this one because it's just, I don't know. Alcohol content's the same, but just the way it's aged, or in this case, not aged at all.
Not aged, right?
Yeah, it's not as good, man. Like this is what they give to the pirates, like this.
You ever drink, we drank some mead this weekend. Did you ever drink mead?
No, never. But who got you drinking it?
We went to it's a thing called Tulsa Tough.
Oh, okay.
Where everybody gets out on bikes and they have to go up this hill, and particular hill is called Crybaby Hill because it really is. I mean, it's a hard hill to get up, but everybody's there partying at the same time. It's a blast, It's a thing.
Yeah. So you mean like mountain bikes and stuff, right?
No, it's street bikes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering. I was like, geez, man, that's fucking some big hill, Crybaby Hill. You're on a mountain bike. Like, holy fuck.
But so we were out drinking. And one of my buddies we rent this house and we all sit out, and it's got a big tree, which is beneficial because it's fucking hot, and he supplies everybody with liquor. He owns a liquor distribution company, and so it's whatever he's bringing.
Okay.
Well, one of the cans was a mimosa inspired mead, and when you poured it into the glass, it was orangey colored, like like a mimosa is going to be, but it was mead. Well, tasted amazing, right? It was a citrusy mead.
Yeah.
My wife was just hitting them, but like,
oh shit,
hitting them. They were good. It's like, mead catches up with you. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I was about to say, how was the trip down?
Fortunately, she slept it off, right? Like,
okay, perfect. That's good. Holy, it'll creep up on you, man.
Non-momentous Sunday evening. Everything was
recovery.
All sleep, but she was oh god, mead. Like,
yeah. Recovery time.
Yeah.
Oh man, jeez, that's
not brutal, me though, man. I was a trained professional. I drank a lot of beer that day, though, man. A lot of beer.
There we go. Yeah, didn't feel a thing. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, speaking of not feeling a thing, all right. I don't know about you, but have you ever done something where you go, what the fuck is, like, you're in the middle of it and you go, wow, that really hurts. What the fuck just happened?
Yeah. That's happened a lot.
On Saturday, I see another hole that my little chihuahua that I've adopted inside of the marriage got digging into another hole. I guess my stepson shoves a piece of wood that I guess it was a part of a fence or something. I don't know. It had to have been.
Oh shit!
Shoves it down there, and I look at it and I go, "Well, that's odd. Why'd you do that when It's just this big
Yeah.
piece. Like, I'm gonna break that and then just put it in,
Oh,
right?
shit.
There
Oh,
it goes, the moment where you go to hit it, and they're like, "Well, why the hell didn't it break?"
yeah. And how's your knee?
Ow, my knee hurts. What was in this? And you're having to like pick up your leg as the nail like
Mm.
pulls itself out. Like, oh God, that's a big, nasty, rusty nail just jammed right
Oh,
inside my leg. Way, all
holy
right.
shit. You're joking. Oh, man. Damn.
No. But you want to know what felt worse than that nail stuck in my leg? It was
What?
the damn tetanus shot that we had to
Oh,
get.
yeah.
Holy fuck,
Jesus.
that thing burns.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's why
God,
you only
I
have to
had
get it
that.
once every 10 years.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I had one. So I was like,
Jesus.
listen, I'm not even messing around. Made an
Yeah.
appointment, got in the next day. Fucking, she goes, just warn you. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know, I had the
Yeah.
COVID shots. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. I can handle this.
That shit burned. It felt
Oh,
like it was a wasp stinging you for an hour.
yeah. Yeah. Holy
It
shit.
didn't
See,
stop.
me,
Yeah.
I remember it being terrible, but I thought it was just because I was young. I got mine last one. I think I was like maybe 12, something like that. I had this big tree fort when I was a kid. My parents have a lot of land. And, I stopped using it. It started to kind of fall apart. And my dad told me, he's like, listen, man, you got to take that thing down. It's disgusting. So I was like, oh, fuck. I was up there, but I was mad I had to do it. So I went up and I'm kicking the walls down because I'm mad. Well, I kicked one down. And as I pulled my foot back, a nail went right through my heel. And I was like, ooh, hurt like hell. Anyway, I was 12 years old. I went to get the tetanus shot. And my dad too, what an asshole. He told me, he's like, they have to give it to you in the ass, unfortunately. It's like they used to do it in the arm, but now it's, I started like bawling. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to get the needle in the ass, And he's fucking with me right up until the point we get there. And I'm asking the nurse, I'm like, I don't have to, like, I can get this in the arm. I don't have to like bend over, and she's like, no, what are you talking about? My dad just burst out laughing. I was like, you fucker, man. Yeah. But he was like, well, it serves you right. Like you were doing some stupid shit and I had to mess with you. So, but yeah, but at the time I remember it hurting a lot and it burned, but I didn't know if that was just because you're 12. I'm like, I thought maybe it was different
No,
feelings.
I probably cried like you did at 12.
Yeah.
Probably.
Damn, that bad, huh? Holy shit. So what would be worse, getting the shot or putting on 9 layers of coating? Would you rather,
I'll take the shot.
Every time. But man, so yeah, you seen any crazy posts lately? I haven't seen a lot of
All
the
right,
same old, but
I seen a fun one that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the court case.
oh yeah.
Watching
Johnny?
Johnny Depp and everything.
Yeah.
That was super funny. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed watching those. And the latest post that's come out where detailers are changing it, which is it got me the first time, and it's hilarious. You start reading down, and it's the interaction with Johnny Depp and Miss Heard, whatever, and
Yeah.
Johnny, do you still love me? And he's like, hey, it's like, Johnny, do you still love me? And he's like, hey, listen, I really think you need to, and then insert, call
Yeah.
Paul's Detailing to get, your car clean because it was really dirty. Like something like that, but it's that interaction, and then it's Johnny Depp saying, hey, you should call Paul's Detailing.
It's true, yeah. I saw it
hilarious.
too. It got me too the first time. I was like, man, that is fucking clever, man. Yeah, because it was like, this might be the last time we speak, but I just want you to know you should really, you should call Marty Hill and order some hyperClean. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, it got me good when I saw it too. But because I thought it was literally, well, I mean, everyone, that's how it gets you, right? I thought it was serious, and I wasn't really following the trial too much. My wife was, and so she'd give me tidbits. So then, of course, my curiosity was piqued when I saw it in the detailing group. I was like, what the hell? So I clicked through it, and then sure enough, man, see, that's twice now this week I got suckered. Once then, and then the other one with the Appleton. I should go to sleep and wake up next week. That's what should happen. Yeah. Me, I've been seeing a lot of the same posts, and it's getting kind of, I'm feeling bad for a lot of guys that are asking, simple questions. I used to contribute more in the groups. But the main reason I started the OrbisX group separately wasn't even so much to help people with software, because I answer a lot of their questions. Like, even though they're in the group, they just message me one-on-one on Facebook or live chat or whatever. But it was more, I wanted them to have a place where they could keep up with the app, but also talk about things that actually matter, ask advice, things that really matter, like one guy posted in the group something pretty cool, actually. This new wiper blade. It's like a squeegee plus a scrubber in this blade. I don't know. It looks really cool, man. So I'm gonna order one, and well, two, obviously, but just one. I'm gonna try it on one side, do a before and after. Yeah. But yeah, I'm curious about it because, man, like, wipers are actually a really good upsell. A lot of people ignore it, but you can buy wipers, pretty cheap if you establish a good relationship somewhere. And man, it's a big thing you can upsell. And it also, for us at our shop, it shows that you care. So that little action is like, yeah, we took a look at your wipers. We want to make sure you're safe on the road. Like that kind of thing. It's like, oh, wow. Like, even if you just take a look at the wipers and you tell them we took a look at your wipers and they're A-okay, like, you're good. They probably know that. They know when their wipers are fucking up, but that little action shows them like, oh, he's not just here just about the money, just clean the car, get out. He actually cares about me on the road. So anyway, I want to check it out, but it's things like that that get posted in the group that's helpful, instead of like, hey, I've been using the same rigid vacuum. Does anyone have any recommendations? It's like, man, like, really? I
It's crazy.
swear.
I think what's good about your group though is that, people will say that if they got an issue, right? Hey, I'm having an issue with such and such and such and such, and you can hop in and help them fix the issue. I think that's what makes the
Yeah.
group so beneficial.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. And I try and jump on it, as you've seen, like, right away. Like, I try and be active, and no matter what I got going on during the day, check those notifications. I prioritize it. So if I'm doing something, I just pause it, deal with that quick, and then jump back in. And yeah, it helps. And a lot of the group members too, like, they know too, when I'm not busy answering questions, I'm busy pumping out new features. So a lot of them too, they're like, you know what? Someone has a question in the group, let me answer it so Shawn can keep coding. It's to their benefit, So, but it's good. It's a good group. It's growing into something pretty amazing, I think. And there's no toxicity there. Like, I have zero tolerance for it, man. There's been some people that have posted some shit and they're just gone. Like, most times they're gone before people even see what they posted, just because I won't stand for it. It's not a place to, attack people. Like, you need a group where people can feel vulnerable to ask what may be considered a silly question, but like, use your resources too. So like, if it's been posted, try the search bar, try this and that, but you do need to be able to ask questions. Sometimes even the search bar, you might type something in, you're just not finding it. Like, you tried. And then if people attack you and they're like, bro, use the search bar. Like, it's like, yeah, I fucking did. Like, that's not helpful. Like, do you know the answer or not? Like, and so me, I don't reply back, stuff like that. I usually just scroll on past. If someone, asks they ask a question. If I'm like, you can find this in the search bar, I just keep going. Not in my group, but like the other groups, you see it a lot, it's a pretty common thing, but I do see a lot of, okay, I will touch on this too. In the groups, there are a lot of newbies in these groups. All the detailing groups, of course, and new guys are at it every day. They're new to detailing, whatever. But there are some veterans in there that know their stuff. They've got some great info to share. And I think that these groups should take some time to think about the questions they're asking and try and target certain people maybe to get some advice and ask their question in a way that might help the whole group instead of just them like taking information. I think that's where a lot of us, we get kind of frustrated trying to help out people where it feels like they just come ask a stupid question, then they're gone. They're not even grateful. They don't even say like, thanks, man, nothing. They're just gone. So I think if people were to use those resources more, like someone like yourself, you have a lot of experience in this industry. Someone could come and ask you a serious question, but like, I don't think you're the right guy to say, like, if someone's like, well, what type of vacuum should I use? Like, yeah, you can answer that question, sure. But I think there's probably more pressing questions that they could ask someone like yourself. You know what I mean? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Unless you
Yeah,
like answering vacuum questions.
But it's kind of the problem with the groups there, right? Like, the
Yeah,
problem is that you can ask whatever you want.
that's true. And there's
And
nothing
that
really
is the
being vetted.
yeah, it is the good side, right? As you
Yeah.
mentioned, you want somebody to be able to have the freedom to come into something and to ask whatever, and that they won't feel that they have a dumb question.
Hmm.
at the same time, how many thousands of people have the same dumb question over and over? It's
It's
kind of
true.
the dilemma of really most of the groups that aren't a group based around a brand, right? Like
That's true.
you
Yeah.
have your group, we have a hyperclean specialist group. If it's just a generic group, then seems like you're going to get a lot of that
Yeah.
just basic same question over and over. Like, but it didn't seem to
True.
be that way until about a year ago. I felt like I really think that over post Corona, the groups
Yeah.
dramatically went way downhill.
I
I,
agree.
I remember 17, 18, 19, parts of 20 that no, it did seem like there was very good dialogue, good questions. Everybody was progressing into deeper thoughts of stuff. And it just seems like, I think post Corona and definitely 2021 to 2022, like those
Yeah.
groups, they fell dramatically,
I
dramatically.
agree. And I think a few things happened. I think one, people having more time to be online and going online more. Also, you got an influx of people that, maybe lost their jobs, or they were, like sent home on a, they're getting their insurance or whatever it is.
So
And
they
then
were
they're
just going
like,
to start cleaning some cars and they need to go into these groups and ask questions. Yeah, absolutely.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I think it's a mix of that. And plus also group size. I think once a group sort of grows to a certain size, but the group admins and stuff don't really have a plan for, because it's not necessarily a business for them. They have a group, and they, like, maybe there's elements that are a business to it, but there's not really like a plan, like, okay, once we hit this many users, we're gonna this or that. It's just kind of, they're just kind of winging it. I see a lot of it as a missed opportunity. Like, they could create, let's say, an ebook or something that's like detailing startup or something. Like, here's everything you need to know, and answer a lot of those stupid questions, and then link to it. And then that way, anytime someone asks that kind of stupid question, or questions considered stupid, they could just boom, hit them with that link, and they can read it. Like, I do it now. People ask me my thoughts on, like, how could I streamline my shop, stuff like that. I'm like, listen, I wrote a whole book on it, and so I just send them the link to the book. I'm like, read the book, because in my mind, if they're not willing to put in, like, it's 90 pages, it's not a huge book. If they're not willing to put in, the 1 or 2 hours to read it, you could literally read it while you're on the toilet. You know what I mean? If you're not willing to put in that time, you're not going to put in the time to streamline your business. You're just not. Like, you can't make that little investment, and someone's giving you the blueprint. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. And so, I think that a lot of these groups, that's what they should do, is create some content around those things that could, even imagine a 15-minute video just going over some stuff, or compile a list of resources. Like, there's guys that have reviewed 15 different shop vacs. You know what I mean? You could make a little document and just copy paste links to these videos or something. Say, like, look, looking for the best vacuum? Here's like 3 videos with a guy that reviewed 40 of them. You know what I mean? Watch that, get a better idea. I think that that's some things that I would do if I was in their position. But fortunately, I don't have that issue right now. Maybe as the group grows, or if a bunch of stupid people join, I don't know. So far, it's all been aces. So who knows? We'll wait and see. But how do you find your group? You find like, people engage a lot with asking questions about things like that, or is it
Mhm.
primarily about, like, your product line and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's primarily around products, or, we have some show and glow type posts, which are fun. You like to see
Yeah,
that your product's doing a good job. But
for
we have a
sure.
lot of people that'll hop in like, hey, I'm experiencing this kind of customer. We got this kind of car. Anybody give a recommendation for something? And, we
Okay,
have
yeah,
that where people will hop back and forth, or, you know, new ideas. There's a
nice.
guy named Wesley Oaks, which is super fun. He found a new way of using bug cleaner to clean off his tailpipes. It's like,
That's wicked.
and
Yeah,
what
wow.
he sprayed it down on his lower rocker panels to showed it as an incredible cleaner. And it's like, you know,
Yeah,
that's it's cool to see too. That's what detailers
yeah,
do,
yeah.
right? We find
Experiment and
yeah, we love
yeah,
detailers. We love to experiment. We love to try and oh, if this product is gonna do this, and I wonder if it'll do this. And hey, watch it do this. That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
people love
It's
to hear.
true.
Yeah.
It's funny, the stuff we use at our shop to take off the glue, from tint. Let's say we have to remove a tint. The stuff we spray on that, we bought some stuff before, and it was just way too harsh. And like I'm talking like for our guys like breathing it in and stuff like that. So anyway, we were trying some different options out and stuff, and we were getting this stuff to remove emblems from the back. If we were, let's say, we're doing debadging or something like that. Anyway, we found out that that stuff that we're getting, first off, it's like $2 a can. It's this aerosol can stuff, but it's actually safe to apply almost to any surface. I say almost because there's a couple you got to be careful with, but it, man, that stuff works amazing. We can now take off a window in like 15 seconds, whereas before it was taking us about 10, 20 minutes, and to do like a set of two. But now, man, you just spray that on, and I don't care what adhesive they used, it's coming off, man. It's pretty wicked. And it was just from us experimenting with stuff, and then we tried it as a window cleaner, and man, it cleans windows amazingly. However, doesn't clean them if you're doing a detail. So there's a very big difference there. And so yeah, we still use a window cleaner just for that. But when I say cleaning, I mean prepping before you put on film. So it does really, really good for that. But that's because you're covering it up, so you don't need it. It's not the same as if it's like a clear piece of glass you're looking through. It's different. But yeah, it's experimenting. It's and I think that's a good point actually. Experimenting, I think, is something that every business owner should go through. Asking things like what's the best vacuum. The best way would be just experimenting, trying out different vacuums, and that's because what works for someone else, it might be the way they're doing it or the particular cars they take. Like imagine, let's say I'm only dealing with Uber drivers and they come in and they have like the worst, like people have thrown up in the back, all kinds of, it's just filthy. I might be using a vacuum that I tell you this one's the best one and it costs, $12,000. And you're thinking, you fucking nuts. I don't need a $12,000 vacuum, but it's because I don't know enough about your business. So I gave you my recommendation based on what I'm doing in my business, right? And so that's where I think that just trial and error, try stuff and see what works. Experimentation, that's one of the benefits. Like chemicals aren't super expensive. Most equipment you buy isn't super expensive. Like, I mean, compare it to, I don't know, like a restaurant that needs a commercial oven, for example. Like we're talking big dollars in comparison. So really we're in an industry where we're fortunate in the sense that it is pretty cheap. The profit margins so it's mostly labor. So, I mean, labor, skill set, all that stuff. But yeah, I think experimenting is the big one.
Yeah,
So now, so
you'd probably say that the better quote unquote entrepreneurs
mhm,
of the industry are going to be ones that
tried
experiment.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they try stuff. They figure things out, right? Like
100%. Because it's part of the whole problem solving, and that's what a business is solving a problem. If you're not solving a problem, you're not making money because people are going to pay for solutions, right? That's what happens. Like if I'm thirsty, I buy a bottle of water. Someone found a solution to my problem. That's how that works. But yeah, so I think so. So does this mean now you're coming out with a tailpipe cleaner? Then is that what's going to? Way too specific, I know. but uh, but yeah, so the groups, yeah, that's what I would say. But another note on the group, and it's what I had mentioned before we started the podcast, was I was thinking about talking to people about focus. It's one thing I noticed in the group is a lot of people spend a lot of time. The same guy will post things, for example, like it's kind of slow this week. What are you doing to get customers? And then that same guy, he's got like 35 comments back to some other guy arguing about using the search bar and this and that. And I'm like, man, like focus on your business and then you won't be slow. You won't even have the opportunity to be slow.
well,
And
you're making a really good point that everybody that hears this, we should reiterate. If you see somebody that's spending a lot of time on social media, it
mhm,
means that their business is not doing well.
100%, because they
Is
should
what
be
it
busy
is.
off their ass
Should be busy
answering
off your ass.
calls and this and that. Yeah. Like it's like me, I rarely take meetings because I'm so busy doing everything else. Like for me to be on a call, for example, with one person in that 30 minutes, I could be doing so much stuff in 30 minutes versus just one thing. It's got to be really crucial for me to
So,
do something like that.
and let's clarify a little bit more, right? Like,
Mm,
unless you're in this same detailer's local area and they're busting their ass on a local Facebook group,
yeah.
that's different because they're investing their time working. And that's
Yeah.
why I think there's some difference with people. They don't. We talked to this guy about doing some posts and stuff, and he's like, I don't really do a lot of social media stuff,
Okay.
but I'll have 15 posts a day about X, Y, and Z, what he's doing, some show he watched, or, his
Yeah.
kid, or, something. And it's like there's a disconnect between working on social media and personal time on social media.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's where a lot of people get distracted, is they get distracted with, like, oh, I use my social media. Oh, I don't really use it much, but they'll use it for things like that. Like, just watch Game of Thrones. It was epic or some shit like that. But then
Like, dude, that
they
was a
don't use it at
post.
all
You
for the
took
business.
time. Yeah, like you did stuff. Like, imagine if you did that with your business.
Yeah, you'd see drastic results, and you're not going to see negative results in your personal life. I guarantee you, because you're still going to do all the things you need to do in the real world. Spend time with your kids, your wife, things like that, eat, work out, all those things. But you need to focus a lot on your business as well, and that should be, like, for me, for example, 7 days a week, I'm focused on my business. I still spend time with my family. I still exercise. I do all of these things. I read books. But my main focus is always on my business. And so some days I'll work 12 hours on my business. Other days I work 6, but every single day I'm working on my business. There's no shutdown. My focus is what's gotten me to where I am. It's not an accident. I didn't get lucky. It's none of these things. It's just like, for example, OrbisX, like, started it from nothing and then just blew it up into what it is now. And that happened by me just being hyper focused, not getting distracted on things, and just focusing on that. And everything is kind of purpose built around my business to some degree. Like, me, one thing on my bucket list was always to write a book. And so instead of writing a book about like fiction or some shit, I wrote a book about business, and then I incorporated it with my software. And then I made sure to put, references back to how the software can help grow your business. So then I gave away the book for free. So I knocked off something off my, my bucket list before I die, but then also made sure it was about my business and pushing me forward, because all of those little bricks, you keep laying them, and next thing you know, you step back and you've built a castle, and you've got your empire, but you need to focus on it. And that's where a lot of people, I think, mess up. They shift their focus to the wrong places.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday. Nick, my partner, in the episode we did on the Pies podcast, and I kind of presented an idea, and it wasn't so much around focus, but it was around sacrifice, right? Because in order for you to focus on your business, you're going to have to sacrifice some other things, because you only have 24 hours in the day. You need to
Very
sleep
true.
at least 6 to 8, right? So
Yeah.
then you're going to have other things you got. So how much time are you going to spend on your business? How could you sacrifice if you're in your 20s and 30s, so that your 40s and 50s would be completely different?
That's
And,
true.
and I presented this idea of, most of us have all heard of it, is called pay it forward. But pay it forward, for most of us, we've understood it to be, I'm in line at a place and I'm going to buy somebody else's drink for them, and I'm paying it forward because eventually, if I do enough good,
That good
right,
karma.
throw
Yeah.
enough good karma out there, or from the people that go to church, it would be a sowing and reaping. If I throw enough seed out on the ground, and eventually some of it will fall on good soil, and I will have a good return of crop, right? Like, it's a theory that you're going to put out goodness in hopes that later in life, at some point in time, you'll get it
receive.
back, because it's paying forward, right? It's an interesting theory that you can manipulate, right? It is interesting that I can manipulate my future by buying somebody else's drink that's behind me at a line, right? Let's just go ahead and say it is interesting to think through, but I didn't do it as that way. But I went at it as paying forward could be, or not could be, actually is, if you pay it forward in your business by sacrificing. If you actually began to develop a lifestyle around your business, instead of, why does it have to be I'm clocking in at this point and I've got to clock out at this point? Why can't your life expand a little bit into, maybe a little bit more into the morning and a little bit further into the evening? Did I miss, right? When I had 2 young daughters, did I miss soccer practices? Yeah. Did I miss some soccer games? I did. Did I miss some dinners? I did.
But those
But
are the seeds that were planted.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I wasn't sitting on social media. I
Yeah.
wasn't watching movies. I wasn't playing video games. I
Yeah.
was out hustling.
Hmm.
I was out learning how to sell. I was out cleaning cars, right? Like
It's
a lot of
true.
us, we want we want everything,
And we want it now.
but like
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and it's what you spend your time doing, because you can either water the concrete or you can water the grass, but only one of them is going to grow, right? So I spend a lot of my time doing activities, and you can combine a lot of activities too. Like there's things I pick up my kids, for example, every day from school, drop them off, pick them up. It's just a thing I do. I like to do it. I schedule my life around it. But there's a time in between where I pick up one daughter and then I have to go pick up the other one. There's a 20-minute window. I know I'm stuck in my car every day during that period of time because I'm waiting for the other kid. My daughter's telling me about, things they did on the playground and things they did, this and that. And I'm listening to her, but I don't need to be sitting facing her. I use that time. It's still during my work day and I'm handling my emails and stuff like that. So I just restructured my day a bit to accommodate for that. So I'm still spending time with her. She's still happy, but she knows like, oh, daddy might be like, 1 second, babe, send a quick thing. Then I listen to her again, then I go back. So there's ways of incorporating it, but she understands that, this is what daddy does. That's how come we go on 4 trips a year.
yeah,
That's how
and that's
come we have the
that's the
house.
right way of doing it. Post my divorce,
Yeah.
right? Then when I was sitting in line to pick up the other kid, I would be intermixing back and forth. I wouldn't
Yeah.
miss soccer practices and I would sit out in the car and do work, right? Like post
Yeah.
divorce, I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
And so sort of it's an idea of how can you blend all that goes into your business also into your life. So many people that, and this all generates from you saying the word focus, like that you have to focus to where you're only working X amount of hours. And
Yeah.
I'm supposed to clock out at 5 o'clock and not touch my business again. I'm focused on my family.
Yeah. But this,
Or,
yeah.
let's be a little bit more realistic. How can we
Yeah.
do something more of what you're saying, where we work some, we family some, everybody understands that this is my life,
Yeah.
this
And
is
we're working
business,
towards
this is
something.
life.
Yeah.
This is why, as you said, you can take trips or you can do something like, hey, everybody understand that we blend this together a little bit more. We can pay forward into our future a lot easier.
100%. Yeah. See, the house I came from, we had this saying all the time. Like even my parents now, they don't follow holidays exactly. So let's say they know like I'm married. They know there's 2 families we have to see during Christmas. You can't be everywhere on the same day. So they've said, you know what? It's okay. See us after. We'll celebrate Christmas on the 28th. Who cares? Like big deal. We just changed the date a bit. So we do stuff like that. There's ways, but it came with conversation with the family and stuff like that. And my parents have always told me, they said, quality, not quantity. They said, I'd rather that when I see you, you can dedicate, you're with me in your 4 hours, but it's 4 hours of quality. They said, I don't want you to come the whole weekend and then you're like stressed out because you're thinking about your business or you're this and that and stuff. And it's not good for you. It's not good for us. They said, just finish your shit and then come spend 4 hours, but it's going to be an amazing 4 hours and then go back to your business. There's things. So it's conversations, I think, and understanding on both sides that comes with, a lot of variables like finding the right partner, having the right family, support group, all that kind of stuff. But I do think you're absolutely right when you say sacrifice, because I'm huge on that, where you have to sacrifice things, and it doesn't mean it has to be horrible. Like it's not like a sacrifice like you got to cut your leg off. It's just you have to make a conscious decision that, okay, this is what needs to be done, and so it means I'm not going to be able to do this, like this whole idea of the picture perfect family where oh, dad's done work at 5 o'clock and we're sitting down to eat together by 6. Like that may not happen every day. You know what I mean? But it's sometimes my wife and I sit down to eat together at 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. And that's when we sit down. But she's like, okay. But then there's certain days where she's like, listen, I want you all to myself. We're going to Cuba and I want you for 7 days. And I'm like, done deal. And then I just tap out and I post a message in the group and I'm like, hey guys, I'm gone. You won't reach me. I'll be back, and that's it. But that's because that's how I've decided to structure the life. And I know that what's required, like these guys in the group, for example, and my other businesses, they get me all the other days, pretty much 24 hours a day, except for the brief time I'm sleeping. And so that's the sacrifice I'm making. But in the end, like the sacrifices I made 10 years ago, my other businesses have set me up for the lifestyle I have now. And then the sacrifices I'm making today are a little bit less than what they had to be before. So it's a progression. And then I'm going to be turning 40 in two years. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. 2 years. And then it's like, whoa, but I'll be turning 40 in 2 years, but my 40s are going to be completely different than my 30s were. And my 30s have been different than my 20s were. And so I was sacrificing a lot more when I was in my 20s. I didn't go out to party every weekend like everybody else did. I went to the occasional party here and there, but I spent most of my time building. And now a lot of those guys that were out partying every weekend, like now they clean cars at my shop, like it's that kind of thing. And it's not to say any particular path is right or wrong. It's just to say that this is what is required if you want to run a successful business and you want to enjoy your latter years, without having to make those kind of sacrifices. It's like, man, I've seen some guys, and I'm sure you have too, Marty. They're in their 50s, 60s, and they're still out there hustling because they didn't make enough sacrifices earlier on, that they're working just as hard now as they were when they were in their 20s and 30s.
And if you're in your 20s and 30s and think that you'll be able to do manual labor the same,
ooh,
you got another thing coming.
Just getting out of bed, you might break an ankle.
Yeah. Late 30s and you start getting in your 40s, your body changes. It just,
yes.
Like,
Yeah.
No way to say it. There's no way other to say it than it just changes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, just think, if you have a car for 15 years, when you touch on the gas, it takes off a little different than, the 2-year-old car. It's just, that's the reality of it. And it still drives, just not quite the same.
So true.
So, but yeah, that's where I think, see, I had a similar situation. We didn't go through a divorce, my wife and I, but one of my older businesses that I had, anyway, we got an offer for a buyout from Yellow Pages. And then, so I exited that business. But that time of my life, I was making bigger sacrifices than now, because we started with nothing. My wife and I had nothing, absolutely nothing. Like, I mean, like checking the couch for money to go to doctor's visits for our firstborn, like we had nothing. And so I coded my ass off, built some software. We ended up doing really well. But for about 2 years, I saw my wife maybe 12 times. And then it started to be where, and she was right to call me on it. She was like, listen, this is consuming you because you're not even using your time efficiently, and so we were having it was kind of not an ultimatum per se, but it was kind of like, get your shit together, and so it was my wake up call that I was losing focus. I was working a lot, but I wasn't working in the right things of the business. And so just because I was taking more swings with the hammer didn't mean I was putting in more nails, so I took a step back. I took a few months off and I said, okay, let me regroup. Let me just, rethink my next plan here. And that's when we started the marketing agency, and it blew up from there. And we structured it around the kind of life we both agreed we wanted to have. And then we just went from there. And then it was, okay, she knew, okay, he's going to be making sacrifices again. I'm not going to see him as much, but it's going to be different because there's an end goal in sight. We gave ourselves time, like milestone checkpoints and stuff like that. And we just worked towards it. But having that plan, it was easy to stay focused because I knew this is what I'm supposed to do every day if I want to reach that goal. And I think a lot of people that jump into detailing, they just jump into it for whatever reason it was. Maybe a buddy got them into it. Maybe they got laid off. They're at home. They're like, oh, fuck, I'll clean cars. Like who knows? However they started, whatever that origin story is, they didn't really give much thought to the actual lifestyle or business that they were creating. And so they're just every day working. And then they're like, oh shit, it's a little slow. I don't know how to get customers. Well, you're not thinking with foresight. Or, oh, geez, I'm working all the time, but I don't feel like I'm making the money I want to make. Well, you're not taking the right clients, or you haven't thought about your business in that capacity. So focus sometimes is, you might think you're focused because, man, I work all the time. I'm always doing business, but maybe you're focusing on the wrong things. So focus is, I think, multi-tiered, Yeah.
Definitely.
Anyway, that's my rant.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, so anything to contribute on that front? Or?
No.
Got to run?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a feeling. I wasn't sure. All right, cool. Listen, Marty, thanks for your time. We'll link up next week. This was good. Go focus. All right. All right, man.
man.
See ya.
Have a great week.
Hey, you too, man. All right, thanks.